What's going on, guys? Welcome to the channel. My name is Julio Santos-De, and in this video, I'm going to teach you my natural fitness guide for the everyday guy or gal. I want to start off with some who the hell am I and why should you listen to me? I've been an online fitness coach for the last 6 years. My business has generated just about $1 million. I work maybe 10 to 15 hours a week. This has been a lifestyle business for me, and I enjoy what I do a ton. We've helped somewhere between 300 and 400 men and women achieve the physiques of their dreams, but more importantly, learn how to sustain them. A big issue with most programs out there is that you don't really learn how to keep the results. A lot of people think that the result that you're after in fitness is losing some weight, when in reality, you want to just never have to deal with it again. So I'm going to teach you absolutely everything that I know in this video about getting fit, looking impressive, doing it naturally, and doing it in a way that is sustainable. And this is for the everyday guy or girl, okay? This is all evidence-based. This is everything that I've learned. This is gonna be a pretty long video. And this is everything that I've learned over the last 15 years. I'm gonna give you guys a little bit about my story real quick. I grew up really, really skinny. When I got to freshman year of high school, I was a $120, 6'1". I'm still 6'1", but I'm 190 pounds. And if you were to see me right now, I'm 190 pounds, relatively lean. This is me in college. So in college, I got to about 210 pounds. And this is me when I turned 25. This is after working with my first online fitness coach. I'm 30 years old now. So this is my personal transformation. This was 5 years ago. I'm 30 now. I look a lot better now. But I'd say that's still pretty damn good from where I came. Now, here's the thing. I always knew what to do in the gym. I actually tracked my workouts. I tracked my calories. I understood what a calorie deficit was even in my early 20s. So this was like 8, 9, 10 years ago. So I knew what to do. The issue was that I just wasn't doing it. Now, in my experience, people fall into one of two camps or both. You either know what to do and you're just not doing it, or you don't know what to do and you're not doing it, or you're doing it, but you just don't know what to do. So the purpose of this video is to teach you exactly what to do so that you know with certainty what you are doing. And then if down the road you realize that you are just not following through and executing on that knowledge, well, then you know for certain that you need accountability. And if you need accountability, there's only one good way that I know of finding it. It's not getting an accountability partner at the gym, because we all know how that works. You work out with your partner for a little bit, and then once one of you decides to stop going, it fizzles out. And the reality is that to get fit, you've got to be consistent over a very long period of time. Guys, I've achieved this physique. This was me at 25. This was after 10 years of training. Now, realistically, I didn't know what I was doing, and I wasn't really consistent up until I turned around 22, which is when I started personal training. And my consistency only improved as I started working with coaches, as I started to raise my own bar, my own standards, working with other coaches myself. I still to this day at 30 work with an online fitness coach. So I practice what I preach. The accountability is key. And look, I'm not necessarily like the most disciplined person. Like, I have my own issues. I struggled a lot with addiction, not to like any hard drugs or anything like that, but I definitely struggled with cannabis use, addiction to video games, addiction to adult content online. Like, I had an issue with avoidance my entire life. Whenever things got hard, I would quit. And so I know what it's like to struggle to stay consistent and do everything that you can and keep telling yourself that you're gonna, get yourself more disciplined and you're gonna be more motivated down the road, and it just never happens. Look, the wise man knows when to ask for help. The fool keeps telling himself that down the road, someday, magically, you will get motivated. And unfortunately, that's not the case for most people. And I say most people because the majority of the United States, the majority of the population in the United States is either overweight or obese. So my ask for you when watching this video is be real with yourself. Okay, I'm going to give you all the information here. You're going to know exactly what to do. I'm going to cover every single base. fitness, training, nutrition, recovery. I'm gonna basically spew my brain out to you guys. This video might be even an hour long, and it's gonna be everything that I know. So by the end of this video, you're gonna know exactly what to do. All of the principles that I share with you apply to both men and women. I'm gonna show you guys hacks and tips and systems. I don't even know where we're gonna go from here. This is gonna be purely raw, literally just a conversation between me and you, okay? So real quick, let me switch over to this screen here. So guys, this is me when I was in college. This is me at 25. I realized I wasn't showing this to you guys in my first video using this software. This is the amount of money that my business has generated since its inception back in 2021. So we've been coaching for the last 5 years. I was doing this basically by myself up until about 2 years ago. And the business has basically, you can see, like almost doubled every couple of years. This drop here is just because it's a new year. It's not because our business is failing or anything like that. So let me show you guys some other transformations, because that's me. I want you guys to see one of my clients, Connor, lost about 40 pounds in 6 months. This is Brody. He put on about 25 pounds. This was over a 10 to 12 month gaining phase. This is Brian. He lost about 40 pounds after never being able to see his abs ever in his life. This is JC, same story. This is Max, full body recomp. You can see he weighs the same in both pictures. So this was a full body recomposition that we did. This is Isaac. He lost about 100 pounds or 80 pounds in a year. This is back to me. This is Danish. This is my brother Jose, who is basically my first client ever. Implementing the same principles I'm going to share with you guys in this video, and so on and so forth. If you want to see more of these pictures, go to bacanoaesthetics.com. This is also where you can apply for one-on-one coaching, okay? Just so you guys can see, this applies to both men and women. This is Jen. She's in her 50s, right? Talking about menopause, PCOS. This is Emma. Same things, okay? This is Bree. This is Rachel. Lost 22 pounds. All of these principles apply. This is all evidence and science-based. There's no magic here. Nobody on this program was taking any Ozempic or peptides or steroids or any anabolics, anything like that. All of these transformations are done naturally. And every single one of these clients is now empowered with the tools to be able to do this completely on their own for the rest of their lives. They do not need to rely on coaches, on another program, on another 75 hard, on a random bullshit diet like low carb or keto or whatever the fuck. Okay, let's get started. So most people want to understand how to lose fat first. Back when I was modeling right around the age of 18, I modeled between 18 and 25. I'm technically still signed, but I don't model anymore. It forced me to get really good at nutrition because I, at 18, was skinny fat. So I needed to get abs. Otherwise, I wasn't going to book jobs. So that forced me to understand how nutrition worked. And that worked out. So let's start off with how to lose fat. And I like to teach things very simply, how to lose fat in a way a fifth grader can understand it. I think you guys all know, and if you don't, what a calorie deficit is. So a calorie deficit basically is a negative energy balance. So basically what this means is you might be somebody who is 6'1", 200 pounds, let's say, and your maintenance calories in order to maintain your weight might be something like 2,500 calories per day. So in order for you to maintain this 200 pounds, you need to eat 2,500 calories. Now, the way to find out what that number is for you is you're going to go to TDE Calculator Legion. You're going to tap on the first link. You're going to put in all your information. So let's go 6'1", 200 pounds. Let's say you're 30 years old. Let's say you do 4 to 6 hours worth of purposeful exercise. Your maintenance calories would be 2,800 calories. Let's call it 2,900 calories. If I lower your physical activity, it's 2,500 calories. If I increase it to a lot, it's 3,200 calories. So you guys can now start to see the relationship between your physical activity and the amount of calories that you need to maintain your current weight. This is very important, okay? Now, if you wanted to lose fat, it's very simple. You can either do this manually or you can do this on this website. This will tell you if you want to lose half a pound a week, you need to eat 3,000 calories. If you want to lose 1 pound a week, you need to lose 2,700 calories. or you need to eat 2,700 calories. If you want to lose 2 pounds a week, you need to eat 2,200 calories, okay, just about. If you want to gain weight, it's the opposite, okay? You need to eat some more food. That would be a energy surplus, okay? Now let's break this down into the actual numbers because I like to teach you guys what the hell is going on. In order to lose 1 pound of fat per week, there's two things that you need to do. One, you need to consume enough protein. So let's say you weigh 200 pounds, okay? And your goal weight is 180 pounds. I want you to consume 180 grams of protein per day. All right, this is going to ensure that the weight that you lose on this calorie deficit is only fat, okay? Because here's the thing, guys, you can lose 1 pound of weight, or, and let's just be clear, 1 pound of weight could be muscle or fat, or you can lose 1 pound of just fat. Now, the way that you lose 1 pound of just fat is to ensure that you're eating enough protein, okay? Because if you're eating enough protein, your body goes, okay, we've got enough building blocks for the muscle. Why would we prioritize that? Clearly, he is telling us, don't prioritize losing fat here. Don't prioritize losing muscle here. If you were not eating enough protein, you are definitely going to lose some muscle and fat as well. Okay, so we just want to lose fat. The way you do that is by eating enough protein. How much protein? 1 gram per pound of your goal body weight, or if you don't know what your goal is, just eat 1 gram per pound of your current body weight. So that would be 200 grams of protein per day. So in order to lose 1 pound of fat per week, you need to be in a 500 calorie deficit. Now, some of you guys seeing this are going to be like, I need to eat 500 calories. No. When I say deficit, I mean a deficit minus your maintenance calories. Okay, so you take 500 minus 2,500, which leaves you at 2,000 calories. Okay, so this would be your target calorie intake. So you would need to eat 2,000 calories per day in order for you to lose 1 pound of fat per week. Easy rule of thumb. For every 1 pound of fat per week that you want to lose, it's an extra 500 calories. If you want to lose 1.5 pounds, it's an extra 250 calories, okay? So let me make that clear. So 0.5 pound of fat per week would be 250 calories, okay, per day. If you want to lose 1 pound, this goes to 500. If you want to lose 1.5 pounds per week, this would be 750. And if you want to lose 2 pounds per week, this would be 1,000. So now you might be wondering, well, how much should I lose? Every single one of you wants to lose weight fast. But here's the thing. If you lose weight too fast, you need to understand what the trade-offs are. Okay? It is not easy. It is not easy to stick to a calorie deficit that is at 1,000 calories. Okay, let me just give you an example. So let's say you want to lose 2 pounds per week. Let me move this over here to make sure you guys can see it. Let's say you want to lose 2 pounds a week. Let me make my face a little bit smaller as well. Okay. You guys want to lose 2 pounds a week. You would need to go from 2,500 calories as your maintenance, right? And now you would need to eat 1,500 calories because we subtracted this 1,000 from this 2,500. So you would need to eat 1,500 calories as your calorie intake. Now, some of you guys aren't really that hungry. So this isn't that big of a deal, right? You can deal with that. Great. Some of you have a very low total daily energy expenditure, which is your maintenance calories. So some of you might be pretty short. Let's say you're 5'2". Let's say you're a female. And let's say you're 120 pounds. And let's say you're 35. And you don't move a lot. Let's say you do little to no physical activity. Look at your maintenance calories. As a 5'2" female, 120, 35 years old, doing little to no physical activity, your maintenance calories is 1,375. In order for you to lose 2 pounds a week, you would need to eat 375 calories per day. That is a small, clean, healthy meal per day. Okay? Now, is that unhealthy for you? I would say realistically at 120 pounds, it's probably unhealthy for you. So what would you do in this case? If you want to get leaner, if you want to get more defined and you're 5'2", female at 120, here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to do some more physical activity. That's the only lever that you can pull here. So let's say now you start doing 7 to 9 hours of exercise or sports per week. This might be 4 strength training sessions that you do per week, plus like 2 35 or 2 hour-long sessions of cardio. You can split that up into 4 sessions, right? 4 30-minute sessions of cardio. And cool. Now, to lose 2 pounds, you can eat 1,000 calories. Some of you guys might still be looking at that and be like, that's not enough food. I heard from some guy online that if you eat less than 1,200 calories per day, like you're going to die. No, look, take into consideration the fact that you are a small person, okay? All of this is relative. 1,200 calories for somebody like me at 6'1", at 190, at 30 pound, at age 30 and doing a lot of exercise, if I were eating 1,000 calories, I would be losing 3 pounds per week. Okay? There's nothing inherently wrong with losing 3 pounds per week. The problem is if I can't get in enough protein and if my training starts to suffer. The reason why training is so important is because in order for you to lose just fat, you don't just want to be eating enough protein, you also want to be training with enough volume and enough intensity. Intensity simply means how close you take a set to technical failure. Technical failure means your form, you want to take a set to the point where your form starts to degrade. Okay, your form is no longer, like, we can't even call that like a clean rep anymore. Once you get to that point, that's technical failure. So you want to take all of your sets close to failure. That means that you're taking all of your sets to a high degree of intensity. You're training with a high degree of intensity. So those are the 2 main things that you need in order to ensure that you're not losing muscle. Okay, now back to this. Is it okay if I eat if I eat 900 calories to lose 3 pounds per week, right? I would need to subtract 1,000 calories from this to get to 900 calories. Is that okay for me? Here's the problem. Okay. So let's say, and this is I'm using this as an example for you ladies out there that are like, 1,200 calories is bad for me. It's all relative. Okay. For me, 1,200 calories would be bad because 4 calories, let's do this in reverse. 1 gram of protein equals 4 calories. Okay? Now, in order for me to just lose fat, I need to make sure I'm eating enough protein. Okay? Now, if 1 gram of protein is 4 calories, and I need to eat, for me, let's say I weigh 190 pounds, so I need to eat 190 grams of protein per day. And I take 190 times 4, because 1 gram of protein is equivalent to 4 calories, then that means that I'm eating 760 calories worth of protein per day. Now, this fits into 1,200 calories, right? This fits into 1,200 calories. 760 is less than 1,200. So that's fine. Like, this would suck, but I wouldn't necessarily lose muscle tissue because I'm getting in enough protein. The problem is I'm going to feel really weak in the gym because I'm not just eating protein. I also got to make sure that I'm eating enough fat and I'm eating enough carbs. Why? Because fat is the macronutrient that is associated with your hormones. So hormones like human growth hormone, testosterone, estrogen, etc., which are all very important for muscle growth. And carbs are what my muscles use for fuel. So if I'm not getting enough carbs in and I'm not getting enough fat in, then I'm going to lose muscle tissue. Okay? Because here's the thing. I need to eat 190 grams of protein. I also, as a guy at my height, I realistically need to be eating around 40 grams of fat so that I'm not sacrificing my hormones. The problem is that 1 gram of fat equals 9 calories. So if I need to eat 40 grams of fat times 9 calories, that's 360 calories from fat. So here's my budget right now. I'm at 360 calories from fat, 760 calories from protein. If I take that 760 plus 360 equals 760 plus 360, that's 1120 calories. So could I eat 1200 calories? If I was just eating protein and fat, this would be a keto diet. Yeah, I technically could. I'm going to be miserable though, because at 6'1", this is just, I know I'm going to be super hungry eating this. I'm also going to be an asshole because carbs are not only good for your fuel source for the gym, they're also going to heavily influence your mood and your sleep. So I want to get in some carbs. It's also miserable to not eat carbs. So you can imagine, like, if I'm eating 1 gram of carbs, like if 1 gram of carbs equals 4 calories, and let's say I want to be eating at least 150 grams of carbs per day, I take that 150 times 4, that's 600 calories from carbs. So now I'm over the 1200. I take this 600 here, 600 from carbs, 600 from protein, 360 from fat, 760 plus 600 plus 360. I'm at 1720 calories. Okay? This is the problem. Yeah, I can lose 3 pounds a week eating 1200 calories. But in order for me to maintain my muscle, I need to eat 1720 calories. So that's the issue. I'm like, yeah, I could sacrifice the carbs, sure, but I'm going to look really flat because carbs are what's going to make your muscles look big. All that carbs, all that glycogen from carbs goes into your muscle and makes it look puffy, right? So you look good, right? This is why you have a nice big arm. If I were to be eating 0 carbs, I'm going to look really flat and small. It's going to look like I'm losing muscle. Okay, so I'm going to delete all this shit. Point is, kind of went off on a tangent here. If you're 5'2", and it says you need to eat 1200 calories, don't freak out at that. Don't freak out if it says you need to eat 1000 calories, because for your size, you need to eat 120 grams of protein, right? So you're a 5'2" female, 120 grams of protein because you weigh 120 pounds, times 4 equals, so 120 times 4, that's 480. Okay, cool. So that fits in the 1000 calories. As a girl, you probably need something like 20 to 30 grams of fat. So let's call it 25. So 25 times 9, 25 times 9 because it's 9 calories per gram of fat. 25 times 9, that's 225 calories from fat. We're still good, right? We're at 480 plus 225. We're well under 1000. Okay? So now 480 plus 225, we're at 705 so far, calories. Now you have 1000 calories left. So that means you have 295 calories left for carbs. So that gives you 73 grams of carbs to consume. So you got 120 grams of protein, 25 grams of fat, 73 grams of carbs. And you're still under 1000. Like you're at 1000. Oops, what just happened? Where's my board? Are we back? Okay, cool. You're still at 1000. So you're good. Now, of course, do we want some more carbs? Even at this amount, you're going to want to eat a little bit more. So let's say we take you to 1200. Okay, would that be so bad? Let's say you are 5'2", 120 pounds. You are 5'2". Okay, so in order to lose 2 pounds a week, you're doing a lot of activity. You need to eat 1000 calories, 1000, almost 100 calories. Cool, you can live with that. That's to lose 2 pounds a week though, guys. You don't need to do that. You can do this a bit more sustainable, 1 pound per week. Now you have 1500 calories to play with. So all of a sudden, that gives you almost, right, an extra 500 divided by 4, an extra 125 grams of carbs. That's basically 200 grams of carbs. So now you're at 120 grams of protein, 25 grams of fat, 200 grams of carbs. This is very doable to lose 1 pound a week. So look, the reality is if you're a smaller person, yeah, if you want to lose fat, it's gonna require you to eat less. But remember, because you are smaller, you also have a smaller appetite. So this is all relative, but this is just the reality of your situation. Okay? So this is how a calorie deficit works in a nutshell. Now, how do you do this? You need to track your calories. Okay? You don't need to do this forever, but you do need to do it until you get really good at being able to identify like how many calories are on a plate and be like, all right, that's 1,000 calories, that's 500 calories, that's about 750 calories. You want to get so good at it that you become basically like an AI calorie counter with your own brain. That's going to take a couple of years of doing this consistently, but then you will never really have to do it again. Here's the truth though. I'm 30 years old. I've been doing this for a long time. I still track my calories because the reality is that I'm still trying to grow. And if you want to grow, you got to measure your numbers. You all have a budget. Some of you guys think that this might be obsessive. Look, to somebody who is morbidly obese, walking 10,000 steps a day is crazy, right? Because they're just not used to it. To somebody who's never tracked their calories before, tracking your calories might seem obsessive or like crazy. That's just because you haven't done it for a long enough period of time. But every single person in my program now is like, whatever, it's just tracking your calories. And look, you do this with other areas of your life. You have a budget, right? You track your income, you track your expenses. That's not crazy. Why is it not crazy? Because money is important. Isn't your body important? Shouldn't you be devoting the same amount of effort into the one thing that makes you feel and look confident and have better sex and get better opportunities? Track your effing calories. Okay, it's going to allow you to be able to eat a flexible diet. You don't have to go on these stupid diets, eating no carbs or removing an entire food group out of your diet. It's just silly. Track your calories. You're going to use a food scale. Okay, you want to make sure you're tracking condiments, ketchup, mayo, the oil on the pan, absolutely everything. Like a scientist, you want to make sure that your tracking accuracy is on point, and this is the biggest mistake people make. If you're not tracking accurately, then we don't really know how much you're eating. There was a study done, basically, long story short, I'm not gonna like go into it. People that were trained on tracking their calories found out that they were underreporting their calories by 1,000 calories per day. So if you got to eat 1,200 calories to lose 2 pounds a week, and you are underreporting your calories by 1,000 calories, so you're actually eating 2,200 calories. You're not going to lose 2 pounds a week. You're going to maintain your weight. You might even gain weight. Okay? So you've got to be really anal. Pardon my French. You've got to be really anal about this. This is why calorie tracking doesn't work for most people, because they track stuff later. You know, they don't track it right when they ate it. They guesstimate. They use measuring cups, use a food scale, track all the condiments. I'm not going to go too deep in this. It is that simple. Your tracking accuracy needs to be on point. And here's another thing, okay? This is why tracking accuracy is so important. The FDA allows for a margin of error of something like 25 to 30% on nutrition facts, okay? So your nutrition facts already start off with a margin of error. Margin of error, FDA, nutrition facts. So you guys know I'm not bullshitting you, okay? Allows a 20% margin of error. So this means the actual nutrition content can be up to 20% higher or lower than what it is declared on the label. Okay? So here, this is what this means, okay? And long story short, if you are underreporting by 1,000 calories and the FDA allows for a margin of error of 20%, then that 1,000 calories can be, that 1,000 calories that you're underreporting can automatically have a built-in extra 200 calories to it, or it could be under. But realistically, nutrition facts, you know, people want to sell their food. They're probably going on the, they're probably lying about this. So you could be under or over. So you need to make sure that your tracking accuracy is 100%. So that you are minimizing, you're mitigating this margin of error that the FDA allows for. Okay, track your calories accurately. Now here's the thing. If you track your calories accurately, hit your protein target, train with intensity, and we've already established that means close to failure. And what does that mean? That means that you are taking a set, again, to technical failure. How far away should you get? Okay, let's go into training a little bit. So, training. This is training in a nutshell. Why don't these boxes just grow? Okay, so this is training in a nutshell. You need to stay consistent with one program for 6 to 12 months. Most people will change their program every like 2 months, or like actually some people will change their program every 2 weeks because they just get bored, or like every other workout. Guys, this is why you're stuck. You are stuck because there's what's called neural adaptations. Have you guys ever swung a golf club? Right? When you swing a golf club and you've gotten great at swinging that golf club, right? You've done it 10 times, right? On the 10th time, you're probably launching that ball way further than you did the first time. Is that because you got stronger, or is that because you just got better at swinging the golf club? It's because you got better at swinging the golf club. You did not build any muscle. You just got better at swinging the golf club. That is a neural adaptation, okay? So, the same thing applies to training. If you're starting a new program every single time and you are progressing in your lifts, that progression for the first, just so you guys know I'm not bullshitting you, how long does neural adaptations take? First 2 to 8 weeks, okay? First 2 to 8 weeks, just about. If you're advanced, shorter, okay? Because you know what you're doing a little bit more. So the first 4 to 8 weeks on your program, if you notice yourself getting stronger, it is not because you are building more muscle. It's not because you're building new muscle. It's just because you are getting more neurologically efficient. You're learning the movement pattern better. Just like swinging a golf club for the 10th time, you're launching the ball further. You didn't get stronger. You got stronger, but it's not because you built muscle. It's because you just got better at the movement. So the very first thing is you got to stay consistent with one program for 6 to 12 months, because this neural adaptations is 4 to 8 weeks. So that would be the first 2 months of the program. You're not even building new muscle. It's neural adaptations. Okay? Cool. So you stay consistent. That's number one. Number two, you got to train with intensity. What does this mean? We talked about it a little bit. Let's do this. Let's say that this, oh my God, that's such a horrible line. Let's say that this line is the number of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is the number of reps that you can do for a particular movement. Okay, this is supposed to be a 10. So let's say that this is a bench press for 135 pounds. Cool? Okay, so bench press for 135 pounds. Let's say that with a gun pointed to your head and your family's lives on the line, you could only do 10 reps before your techniques just starts to fail. You start to lift your butt up off of the bench. 10 would be your failure point. This is where you fail. So what does intensity mean? Intensity means that you're taking the sets as close to failure as you can. All right? Here's the muscle building zone. It's here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 0 to just about 2 or 3 reps shy of failure, and you're in the muscle building MBZ, the muscle building zone. If you fall at a rep in here, you are signaling to your body, grow muscle in this area. If you fall here or here or here, the stimulus gets a lot weaker, almost to the point of your body goes, okay, that was relatively easy. Your body needs to feel stress to grow, and it's not feeling any stress in this zone. It's feeling stress in this zone, the same way you need stress to grow, right? If your kids are, let's not even get into an analogy about that, okay? If you're let's say you're learning calculus, okay? And you want to get better at doing calculus. You're not going to get good at calculus by doing the easy problems. You're going to get better at calculus by doing the hard problems, aka the stressful problems, the ones that cause you to think. It's the same exact thing here. You got to get your muscles to think, metaphorically, okay? And so in order to do that, you got to get into this 0 to 3 reps. For some, if it's a lower rep range, let's not get into that right now, but basically the lower the rep range, the further away from failure you can be. The higher the rep range, the closer to failure you need to be. So let's just say 0 to 3 reps shy of failure. Now, what I'll tell you guys straight up, just take your sets to failure. Like, most people don't know what failure feels like. Most people think that failure and training with intensity is you are just training until it starts to burn. And it's not when it just starts to burn. Okay? It's when you can no longer lift another rep. That is true failure. So that would be what's called 0 reps in reserve. You might have heard the term RIR. That's reps in reserve. So if you take it all the way to 10, you have 0 reps in reserve. That means 0 reps in the tank. You couldn't do another one. If you take it to 9, you have 1 rep in reserve. If you take it to 8, you have 2 reps in reserve. If you take it to 7, you have 3 reps in reserve. You want to be somewhere between 0 and 3 reps in reserve. That is intensity across all of your exercises, or you will not grow. And you need to do this consistently, not just one day a week. You got to do this consistently every time you train, okay, if you want to build muscle. Now, final piece. We already talked about the nutrition side. This is the final piece. Arguably the most important part. They're all important. This is progressive overload. The easiest way that I have ever taught this, I had a video go viral on, what the hell? I had a video go viral on TikTok. Let me make sure that this is still recording. Cool. I had a video go viral on TikTok once, and it was because I made a video on rep ranges. It's amazing that nobody has explained this. So rep ranges, they're going to look like this. There's going to be rep ranges like 4 to 6, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12. Okay, they all work the exact same way. This is how it works. Let's take the 8 to 10 rep range. And you're going to see this in a program. It's going to say something like bench press. Do 8 to 10 reps. And it's going to give you set 1, set 2, set 3. Okay? So these are your sets. 1, 2, 3. In the 8 to 10 rep range, this is where you're going to put your reps. And this is where you're going to put your weights. I highly recommend an app called Rep Count to keep track of all this stuff for you. All right? So if you're in the 8 to 10 rep range for this particular exercise, because the training program calls for it, and don't get tripped up on this. This could be the 4 to 6 rep range. This could be 8 to 10. For most people, you're going to be, like literally everybody, you're going to be somewhere between the 4 to 12 rep range. Okay? If I were you, just across the board for everybody, men and women, I would go 6 to 8. Or if you're a man, 8 to 10 if you're a woman. Okay? Don't overthink this. Just pick one, stick to it. Like, the difference between 6 and 8 and 8 to 10 is not noticeable whatsoever over a year. What matters is that you progress and that you take these sets to failure. Okay, so here's how it works. If you are able to hit the 8, if you're able to hit a 10, okay, let's say you do 10 reps of 135 pounds. So this would be a plate on each side for a barbell. If you hit 10, right, that's the upper limit of the rep range, you're going to move up 5 pounds total if you can hit 10. Now, if you cannot hit 8, let's say you only hit a 7 here. 7 reps. Then you are going to move down you're going to go minus 5 pounds. If you land at 8 or 9, which is within the rep range, 8 or 9, so let's say you do an 8, you are going to stay at that weight. Okay, so let's go through this. If you hit a 10 rep, which is the upper limit of the rep range, and you did 135, you're going to move up to 140 pounds. Okay, 140 pounds. If you hit 7, then that means that you are going to go back down to 135 pounds. Okay, if you hit an 8, that means that if we had a 4th set, which we don't, but if you did, you would stay at 135 pounds. Okay, it's that simple. That is how you auto-regulate. Auto-regulate just means like it's a system for basically determining how much weight to move up by or how much weight to move down by. This is it. Now, the key to this is not just doing this once, it's doing this every single time you work out. Because ideally, this is how you progress. This is week 1. You're going to do the same exact thing, okay, in week 2. Bring me back. Okay, you're going to do the same exact thing, but it's going to be week 2. Delete this. All right, and now let me delete these numbers. But you are going to take your best set from the previous week. So let's see, what was my best set from the previous week? I already did 10 of 135, so I've graduated from that weight. The best set I did was 140. So I'm going to start at 140 for set number 1. And realistically, assuming I'm doing my nutrition right and my recovery right, I am going to land at something like a 9. Awesome. Guys, you've just progressively overloaded because last week you could only do 7 reps of 140. This week you did 9 of 140. It's a new high score. Awesome. You want to be thinking of this in terms of high score. Now, of course, I'm not going to go into it. You did 140 for 9. That's within the rep range. So you're going to stay at 140 for the next set and so on and so forth. All right. Go back and rewind if you're not clear on how this system works. This is training in a nutshell. The only thing you're missing here is a good app to use. I would use Rep Count. This will track your workouts for you. There's another great one called Heavy. There's another great one called Strong. My favorite right now, I was really big on Strong for like 10 years. Like 5 years, and then I've recently switched to Rep Count. So I would just recommend Rep Count on your phone. All right, it's going to track all your workouts. You do this every single time. If you want to get big, if you want to get strong naturally, if you want to like build muscle, this is what you need to do. Okay. You also need a training program. That is the other thing that you are missing. So you want a training program. If you guys want a training program, I need you to go to JulioSantosDeSoto.com, free training program, and it is going to take you to this link. We will send it to you once you get there. We have ones for men and women. They are 3, 4, or 5-day training programs, and we will send it to you completely for free. Okay, JulioSantosDeSoto.com, free training program, and it's all in there. Awesome. Recovery. This is the last thing. Recovery. You need to sleep. Most people, we're struggling with chronic sleep deprivation. That's why everybody needs caffeine. Simplest thing I can tell you to do, get a Whoop. Just get a Whoop. This will track your sleep for you. You don't have to think about it, and it will tell you how much you need to sleep every single night, what time you need to wake up by. It is a simple, like honestly, I could just stop the video right here because this Whoop handles it all. You tell it, I want to wake up at 7, and it says, all right, you need to go to bed by this time to get 100% of your sleep need. Just do that. Like, just respect it. I'm not going to go too deep into like sleep habits on this video or any other nitty-gritty details. This is the gist of it. Okay? Now, the very final thing is your steps. If you want to lose fat and you want to build muscle, you need to be hitting your steps. So I use an Apple Watch to track this. I hit 10,000 steps every single day. When I'm losing fat, I'm still hitting 10,000 steps every single day. When I'm building muscle, I'm still hitting 10,000 steps every single day. Why? Because if I do some more steps, it just allows me to eat more food. So more steps means that I go from none to a little. Okay, and look at how much extra food that allows me to go. So from none, let's go, realistically, it's not a little, let's go to some. So I go from being able to eat 1,400 calories a day to 1,800 calories a day. That's an extra meal per day just for hitting my steps. All right. If you combine that with 4 days of training or 3 days of training, you're doing some, you might be even doing a lot of training. If you do cardio, it's just going to add even more to your total daily energy expenditure. That's how this works, guys. Okay. In my training program, for example, I'll show you guys how this works with, let's see, one of my clients. Let's do Sean. All right. So you can see with Sean, We've been tracking everything. He's been working on this for years. Okay, so May of 2023 is 174. Got down to 133. Sean is 5 foot, what? 5'9". So 175.6 down to 133. How do we do this? Look at his calendar. I have him hit 15,000 steps a day. He's eating 1,900 calories. I get to see everything that he's eating. So I see a cinnamon, some bran cereal. So we're able to coach people just like this by looking at everything they're eating and giving them feedback. I see his weight, and I see his training. So I see whether or not, and you'll see this is exactly what I'm telling you guys, right? He has a wide grip pull down. He does 8 reps of 90. His rep range is 4 to 6. Rep range is 6 to 8. He's progressing every single week. We go to progress. I go to exercise here, personal best, and I look at these movements over time. You see he's getting stronger. Max weight he was able to do on his standing calf raise was 90 pounds. Now he's at 195. He's building muscle in his calves because he's getting stronger in his calves. It's really simple. It's just not easy. And the hard part is being able to stick to all this stuff. So if I could boil this down in a nutshell, for most people, you got to train 3 days a week. God, this is so difficult to control. 3 days a week. Hit 10,000 steps per day. Get great sleep. Train hard and properly. And eat in a 500 to 1,000 calorie deficit. You do that until you get to six-pack abs or you get to toned and defined, and that's it. Anything else beyond that is bullshit, okay? There are habits, there are strategies to get you to do this stuff consistently, but the real question is, can you stick to this? Can you stick to this for 6 to 12 months? And if you can't, even though I've given you all of the information here to do on your own, then you probably need some accountability. And if you need some accountability and you want somebody that's going to be very no bullshit with you, then you can go to our website, Meccano Aesthetics, fill out your application. We'll jump on a call, you and me directly for 20 minutes, and we'll see if this is the right fit for you. If not, no worries. But at the end of the day, you will know that you have all the information, you're just not executing on it, and you're going to have to figure out a way to hold yourself accountable. Guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful. And we'll leave it there. Peace.